Don't forget to click that subscribe and bell icon to receive a notification each time I upload a new video. Hi everyone, it's Mike here. So today I'm going to be doing another page in my volume of the dolls. So I've picked out another double set of characters from Tim Holtz paper dolls. So this time I'm going for a kind of family theme. So I've already pegged open the 2 pages, or the next 2 pages in my altered book. And I've gone through my kind of ephemera collection here, just pulled out a few bits and pieces, some washi tapes, a few kind of nice bits of ephemera that I'm going to layer in there just to give it a little bit of kind of depth. But I've also got some of these family photos from the photo booth set that I also want to integrate into the background of the page. Now these are not going to be kind of like in the foreground. I'm going to have these so that they're kind of just into the, well, disappearing off into the background, if you know what I mean, depending on which way around that I want to do them. It's going to be kind of a softish page, so I'm going to be doing muted colours. I'm just trying to build, I've got a little idea in my head of what I want to achieve. Whether I actually do it or not is another matter, so I'm just going to go for it. So it's literally going to be sticking down some of this stuff first, then I'm going to put a coat of gesso over the top just to knock these into the background. But I kind of want to get the right balance of where I want things to go before I stick my cast of characters over the top to see exactly. I might not actually integrate all of these photo booth things into it. Not really sure yet exactly how I want to play this. So it depends. It depends on what we're going to do. Something like that anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and start ripping things up and just start sticking things down. I want to break up the text in the background, so I've got some old graph paper or squared paper. So I want to add some strips of that into the page as well, just to kind of break up these lines. So I'm just going to tear a couple of strips, and I kind of like these ones with the holes in, so I'm going to maybe just use 3 strips of that. And then I've got some matte medium here, which I'm going to use just to build up those layers in the background first. I'm going to put a big generous dollop, that is a good word, of matte medium, and then I'm going to start sticking in these bits here and there. So let's see, let's try and put this one down here at the bottom. These metal clips, by the way, are only here just to hold the pages open. Oh, there's 2 pages there. Oh, excellent. That was a bonus. 2 for the price of 1. So I'll put 1 up here as well. So I'm not putting too much thought into this. I'm kind of just going on instinct, which may be a good thing or a bad thing. At this stage, it's too early to say. Okay, so I'll put the other piece there. Just keep a little bit of that text showing at the edge. Okay, so this is actually going to start to help thicken up the page a little bit. Okay, so the next thing that I want to stick down is that nice big Just drop it into some water, that nice big rose. But I'm going to need something a little bit heavier than matte medium. So while that's still wet, I'll get some PVA, some just white craft glue, and I'm just going to start sticking stuff down. I haven't gone around the edges of anything because I will be going over the top with some gesso. Okay, so we've got that, so we'll have the clock. Now before I stick that down, let me introduce one of those strips of photo booth. And I'm putting plenty of glue down on there, but that's it. So I've not quite lined it up with that, so we've got a little bit of a step down, then we've got that graph paper after it, and then I'm going to get the clock and stick that so it's just coming over, so it's now clustering onto there. So I'm liking that side, that's fine. So now for this side I'm going to bring in this birdie piece. Now we should, if we work quick enough, let's put that about there, and then bring that other, I'm not going to use all of it, let's see if I can cut just 2 of those off. Yeah, 2 of those. Then look, I might actually be able to do all this in one take. Maybe, maybe not. Who can say? And then we'll put that so it's clustered about there. Yeah, like that, like that. And then I want this flower piece here. I want that to go down . I want that to go down here. So that kind of breaks up that corner there. So we've got flower there, flower there. Okay, so I'm hoping they're going to hold and glue and stick. I think actually that's going to be it for the background. So the ones that didn't make it into the final cut were those 2. Okay, so I need just to put some pressure on this to make sure it's actually holding. So a bit of weight on there, and then it looks like I'm not going to do it all in one take. So I'll be back when that's dry and we're ready to continue. Well, they're pretty much dry enough now for me to be able to work on them. I've just moved the clips to the tops of the pages just to keep them out of the way. I just want to give them a quick coat of gesso. So I've got some indigo blue white gesso here, but I want to tint it. I want to give it a little bit of a kind of vintage feel. So I've got some neo colours. I found a, that shouldn't be in there. That shouldn't be in there. So I want a brown. What's this neo colour? What we've got here, brown. So I'm going to take some neo colour brown, put it on my craft mat, get a brush. Oh, it's still a bit damp. Just take off any excess water. Right, grab some paint, and then I'm going to mix it. Just a touch of water. You see how I've tinted the gesso, and I shouldn't have put that back, should I? I've thrown it straight back in because I want to add a bit more. That's it, come on, give me some colour. just to knock that colour back a little. So it's just tinted the gesso just enough to give us a little bit of colour. And it just knocks those pictures or those paintings, photos back a bit. So I'll get some more. Touch of water, bit of gesso, pick up, and then we can get cracking on the other side. If you've got some of that Tim Holtz matte medium that's already tinted, then you could use that. Just go over it. See, look, there's a lot on the worktop here. So let me get some more white. We can just start to knock it all back. And immediately, if there was any of that shine onto of the photo booths, this will get rid of it. A bit dark, and a little bit more colour. There we go. Of course, when it dries, you will still be able to see bits coming through. Okay, just take some more of that brown, a little bit more. Now what you could do is actually take your neo colour at this point and just start adding some darker shade onto the page. Because it's water soluble, but it's also permanent when dry. Start adding in a bit of variation to the background. Now while that's still, I want to bring some blue in. Just a little contrast of colour. Just helps to break it up a little bit. Don't necessarily need to see it full, just need a few hints. We've got a pink. That's a darker pink, so maybe some of that will help to balance. I'm only adding a tiny touch of water. We're just getting the hints of that colour in the background, look. It's all knocking back, which is good. So let me take some more of that blue. Teeny touch of water. A little bit more of that white gesso. Okay, so first layer, get that dried, and then I'll be back to add a little bit more. Okay, so that's pretty much dry now. You can see the majority of the shine has actually gone off that page now, which is good. But I want to lighten it a little bit, so I am going to get some more white gesso. Just a tiny bit. I don't mind if it contaminates a little bit. And we're just going to go over the page just to add a kind of shabbiness to it. Don't need a lot. And it's just going to tone everything down, just again into the background, but enough for you to be able to see what's underneath. That will do. Okay, get this dried, and I'll get this cleaned up a little bit, and then I'll be back. Okay, so page is dry. I've had a bit of a tidy up. I've pulled out from my collection distress crayons. So I've got Peacock Feathers, Picture Raspberry and Vintage Photo. So these three colours I think work particularly well together. So the Vintage Photo, I'm just going to add a little bit and then blend in just to create some kind of like age shadows. If there is such a thing. I'm sure you all know what I mean. A bit of grunge. Never hurt anyone. Don't think anybody's ever died from distressing. Or have they?
Answers on a postcard.
Indeed. Or in the comments section below. That'd be an interesting one. Mm-hmm. Okay, so a little bit of... Ian's in the room, by the way. If you hadn't realised already. Oh, and there's Mr. Bentley, just to get in on the act. Thank you. Doesn't like to be left out, that lad. It just helps to break up that background when you add a few bits of colour to it. Now the peacock feather, and I'm just going to go back over the same kind of line. Just adding in just patches of that nice kind of blue colour which echoes the colours that we added in when we first started. See this pink up here, so that blue just helps kind of bind it all together. Just with little hints. Actually, let's just break up those pictures a little bit, just there. That's better. And then we'll just add in a few pinky highlights too. Don't need a lot. Don't need a lot. think I'm happy with that. Okay, we'll now start to add our cast of characters. Well, these are going to stand out in stark reality next to all this colour in the background. That's fine. And I want to put those up there, just where that clock is. And they're going to sit really, really nicely. So, glue again. So hopefully there's some of this left. There we are. Because I'm actually sticking this down onto an uneven surface now, I'm not putting it right to the edge. And I'm just going to drop that there. I'm not going to push it down. Where's the other one's gone? Oh, it's still on the page. Oh.
Sorry about that.
Alright. A bit of a tickly cough. And again, I'm going to do the same thing at this side. Just drop that down about there, but I'm not going to push down. Because, before I do anything else onto this page, I want to add my little quotes. So the first one is from, I think it's the Big Chat, Tim Holtz Big Chat, and it's just the word family. And I'm going to put that there. Actually, I might just stick it there. And then I picked out two other quotes. Now, one of them, this is from, I can't remember what this one's called, the other Tim Holtz set, where it's not just the words, it's the phrases. Chit chat, probably.
And it says chat, chit, something or other.
Yeah, something like that. And it says life doesn't have to be perfect to be wonderful. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the word life and get rid of it. So that now says family doesn't have to be perfect to be wonderful. And I'm going to put that just underneath the feet of our little characters there. Now that's stuck down, I can push those characters down with that glue. Like so. Some of that glue will come squishing out in a minute, and that doesn't want to stick. So I may have to add just a thin bead of glue. Where's my other little bottle of glue? It's got the fine tip applicator on it, but this is definitely running out. Look, it's just coming off completely. So, got a very thin bead just along there, look. Probably end up going back over it with a load of matte medium later anyway. See, that's now gone over the top of her foot, and I didn't want that one. It to be underneath her foot. Come on, there we go. Family doesn't have to be perfect to be wonderful. And then at this side, from the same set, we've got we are fearless, independent and original. So I want to tuck that just underneath the feet there and stick that down, but I guess it ain't going to stick down on there either. And I can just push that down. See how that shines. Hate it, absolutely hate it. Hate the shine on pages like this. It just does my head in. Okay, so I need just to leave that to dry. Need just a little bit of weight on there, a little bit of weight on there. Just using these bottles for that for the moment, just while the glue grabs, and then I can come back in. That's heavy. That's heavy enough. That's alright, don't need any on there. Right, so I'm going to let those just sit and let the glue grab for a minute or two, and then I'll be back to add my final coat. Ish. Okay, so they're pretty much glued down now, but as you can see, there's so much shine on that, it just... Oh. Anyway, when I was talking earlier on about you can get some like matte medium that's already pre-tinted from Tim Holtz, this is the stuff I meant. So distress collage medium, vintage. So as you can see, it's already got a tint to it, so that when you go over the top it adds that kind of vintage, not necessarily the full sepia effect, but it does knock it back and just adds that kind of tint to it. Now, I didn't purchase this. This was a gift from my friend Linda. When I went to visit Linda before Christmas, she was having a clear out of stuff that she hardly ever uses, a de-stash kind of declutter affair, and she had a bag of half a dozen bottles of stuff, and this was amongst them. So I'm going to use it on this one, on this page. So I've got a little brush, and I'm not taking too much out at once, and I'm going to go just start and go over, and I'm hoping this is going to remove that. I'll just take it from the lid actually. It's going to remove that shine and add just that little bit of sepia tint over the top. I've never used this before, so this is a test. I can see it's starting to add that kind of brownish vintage tone over the top, and I'm going to go over the top of our Chit Chat stickers. Now this may need a couple of coats just to kind of blend it in. But it looks as though I've managed to get everywhere. Just try and get an even coat. And while we're doing that, I can start adding it just in other areas as well, which is going to help tone the whole page into that kind of vintage, kind of shabby chic-ish effect that I was hoping for. Just go over it. Okay, so we start with young Harold down here. And then we'll start covering Gran up, or Mum even, and I'm naming her Hilda.
Why Hilda?
No idea.
No.
Well, Harold, Hilda. Were characters from a TV program.
Howard and Hilda.
Was it Howard and Hilda?
Ever decreasing circles.
That was the programme.
They all wore exactly the same jumpers constantly.
Husband and wife.
Yeah.
Yes. So Henry and Hilda then. Because this is mother and son, they don't wear the same clothes. But you can see it started to tone down that bit down there, so let's go over that word family. Yes. It's just knocking it back enough, isn't it? Just to add some of that sepia tone up top. And just start adding it down here. So when using a small brush, you don't really need to use big brushes to get decent effects. Just get it around the edges. I think that's working rather well. So what I'll need to do is just give it a quick blast, dry it off, and then we'll see whether or not we need to add any more to get rid of the shine, and hopefully the brush will stay wet enough, long enough that I don't have to dunk it in water. Okay, so learning opportunity here. Tim Holtz Distress Collage Medium, when used, creates a shine. So there you can see it's added a shine all over the page, which is the exact opposite to what I was going for. Although it has toned everything down, you can see there's a nice little kind of sepia tint to the wordage. It's actually added a shine to the page. So, learning opportunity, now we know. And I'm sure lots of you did and were shouting at the screen to tell me. Thank you for that.
It's not loud enough.
So I've got my big tub of Art Basics clear gesso from Prima Marketing and our friend Finnabar, Anna. It's nearly all gone now, look, I really need to invest in some more. So I've given it a shake up, so I've got plenty on the lid. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and give the whole thing, the whole page, a coat of this clear gesso. And I'm just going to go downward brush strokes, and then when it catches in the edges of my peeps there, I'll just go backwards and forwards, different directions, and hope that I've managed to catch it all. I know it dries clear, obviously. It's going on kind of milky, but it does dry clear. But I am putting on quite a bit. Sometimes it does actually react and stay white for whatever chemical reason. I haven't quite worked that one out yet, but I'm sure one of these days I'll work out it's a combination of two different things probably, which is usually what happens. One substance doesn't like another. Okay, so we'll go over Hilda. Decent coat. You really have got a tickly throat, haven't you?
I'm going to go have a drink, I think. Go and have a quick...
Yes, a quick...
cardigan coat in the van with.
Little quote from TV programme Little Britain there. He isn't going to have a Bacardi and Coke because he doesn't like it. I do though. Okay, so complete coating of clear gesso, and I'm hoping it is actually going to disappear. And I'm hoping I've caught everywhere. We'll see. Okay, so gesso's all dry, and as you can, that drink didn't help, did it?
Pint of gin and tonic.
So as you can see, that coat of clear gesso has done the trick. No shine anywhere, which is perfect. Okay, so it looks as though getting out that washi tape was a complete waste of time because I don't want to use it. I think it's just going to add too much more colour into this now. It's colourful enough. I know it's all subdued and knocked back, but that is kind of what I wanted. I wanted it kind of old, crusty, shabby chic-y, faded colours, but you can still see the colour, you can still see the blue, you can still see the pinks, and you can still see that brown in there. So it is actually quite colourful. It's just knocked back. So that's perfect. Exactly what I was going for. Right, so to finish off, I And you just need to unify all the pages just to finish with a final sprinkling of white splatters. I think that is going to do it. So I've got some white paint, a little bit of white water. No, not white water. Water.
Wet water.
Wet water, indeed.
Why do the splats pull it together? People have asked me that.
It's because you get a sprinkling over everything.
It pulls everything together.
Yes.
Oh, how clever.
And you don't need lots. You just need a little, just to kind of bind it. And you can go for big drips as well. Oh look, I've got one right on Harold's face. I didn't want to get that there. Try and avoid getting it on the girls' faces. That's alright. Don't mind it just appearing on the shoulders and stuff. But sometimes it takes both white and black to make it work. And I've got a funny feeling I'm going to need both on this one. The white has gone on, but I think it needs both. So I'll get that dry, clear that off, and back in 2 shakes. Okay, so the white splatters are dry, but in this instance I do think it needs black ones too. So, well, you could probably get away with doing brown ones, but black ones, it's just going to pull the colours together because you've got the dark black in the foreground with the writing and in the tones in the photographs of your paper dolls, but also it's coming through from the background. You can see the black from the sailor's tie, from the shirt of the young boy. So adding a little bit of black in there as well. You know I'm going to get comments about your coughing, don't you?
I'm sorry.
No, I don't mean that. People will be telling me that you need to get yourself to doctors and stuff.
I've been. Nothing can do for me, I'm stupid.
There. Definitely needed the black ones.
Did. Excellent.
Yeah. Just noticed the battery's nearly dead on my camera, so I'm going to have to speed things up before it goes. Right, just to finish off, I'm going to add just a little bit more darkness now. I'm going to create just some scribbly boxes just underneath and around the word blocks. Just to add a little bit more dimension to the grounding where the stud. And I'm just using like an ink biro for this. Plus I'm also going to go around the word family because that does form part of the main kind of phrase for the page. But just to finish it off, I am going to add well, I was going to add a border actually, but now looking at it I don't think it needs one. No, I think I'm happy with that. So all I'm going to do is just sign it quickly before the battery goes and put today's date, which is what?
Today's
it
date
is
is
the
the
7th. 7th of the 1st, 20. There you go. So that is, I've lost the lid. There it is. So there you go. So that, no, don't panic, Mr. Mannering. So there you go. That is page 4 in my volume of the dolls. So far we've done 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. And many more to come. I'm going to carry on. I will persevere with this until I've used up most of my paper dolls. So I hope you've enjoyed watching that page come together. If you have, please remember to give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. That's all from me for now.
And all from me as well.
And him in the background. I will see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.